So the leadership of South Africa might portray a picture that we don't care and we can do things by ourselves. But the people, the majority, know that without this aid from America, we are probably going to suffer. And then Africa in general, Africa is not happy about this at all. A lot of people are saying, if you are withdrawing your aid from South Africa, stop mining our minerals then. At the end of the day, when people see Africa, they look at us as people who are really desperate. So now the issue of white people in South Africa is boiling. It's really interesting if you are to look at it at a bigger picture. Because when it happens to white people, the world will know and people will feel pity for them, white people in South Africa. But when the same thing happens to black people, not even people in Europe will talk about it. So what I want to talk about today is the times that white people went too far in Africa. If we were to give a good example, what really happened last year, where 2 farm workers were killed by white farmers. And then after killing them, they were trying to get rid of the bodies, and then they fed the bodies to the pigs. So at the end of the day, a lot of people were saying that South Africans are not too vocal about it. They care so much about white people in their country that when foreigners from Africa come to their country, they either kill them or chase them away. And at the end of the day, we have white people in South Africa who are killing black people as if they are nothing. So back in 2017, 2 white South Africans were sent to jail for 25 years after they forced a 25-year-old into a coffin. It happened in 2017, but we are human beings, white or black. We don't learn from our mistakes. In 2024, there was an outrage in South Africa over the terrible death of 2 women who were killed and fed to pigs. And from their defense, they were saying that these women, 2 women who were killed and fed to the pigs, they were trespassing. Wait. Imagine. News for years have been circulating that these people, these workers, they are not paid enough in these farms. It's not a really good picture. So in 2024, the same last year, in the eastern province of Mpumalanga, a farmer and his security guard were arrested in August for the alleged murder of 2 men at a farm in Ladysmith near the small town of Middelburg. Sorry for the pronunciation. It is alleged the 2 men whose bodies were burned beyond recognition were accused of stealing sheep. So you caught them and then you burn them. You never hear Trump say these things. You never. I mean, at the end of the day, no one is doing a follow-up. No one does a follow-up in South Africa when something like this happens. Let's say a Zimbabwean does this, or a Nigerian, So another case, the most recent case involves a 70-year-old white farmer who is alleged to have driven over a 6-year-old boy. Imagine both of his legs. I want you guys to hear the reason why this all happened. For stealing an orange on his farm. So the name of this white man is Christopher Storman from Lutzville in Western Cape Province, for those who want to do a research on. The court has said that the mother and son were walking past the farm as they made their way to town to buy groceries. It is alleged the 6-year-old stopped to pick up an orange that was on the ground, and the mother watched in horror as the farmer alleged mowed him down. Imagine. It happened last year in South Africa, and most of you guys are watching this for the first time. So let's do an analysis. Let's look at a bigger picture. How many white farmers have been killed last year? Because when I'm reading this, some of them in their defense, they are saying that since there is a high crime rate in South Africa, we'll be trying to defend ourselves. And I was reading an article. Farm attacks and murders have become a sensitive issue in contemporary South Africa. Yes, it's now. People are starting to question, like, you guys, you're killing us. Let's look at South Africa alone. Last year, how many black people have been killed by white farmers, especially white farmers? What happens to them after being killed? It's terrible. It's either they're burned to ashes, they're fed to pigs because they'll be trying to dispose the body. So the article that I read, the farmers often use farm dwellers as cheap labor. So if you use them as cheap labor and you underpay them, how are they going to take care of themselves? Most farm workers work throughout the month and have little free time. At month end, they are paid and the truck takes all workers to the farmer's shop, and then to the farmer's bottle store in the farm. In this way, the farm dwellers are in no exit situation and they have no access to accurate information about party political development. This is happening in South Africa. And it's not only in South Africa, all over Africa. I interviewed someone who used to work for a white farmer. He said, I would work 24 hours and I had no access to my family, to the outside world. So at the end of the day, the farm dwellers, the workers are more vulnerable. The numbers are showing. Last year alone, how many black people have been killed by white farmers, fed to the pigs, banned beyond recognition. And last year they had to do a DNA just to identify the bodies. Farm labor, otherwise called farm workers, are predominantly black South Africans who are very poor, disadvantaged, and landless. The majority are illiterate rural dwellers without significant social security.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Why would the media talk about it? Why would the media... If I go throw away a pair of my shoes, is that newsworthy? No. If I go unalive somebody, that's newsworthy. If I throw away my shoes, my dinner from last night, it's not newsworthy. What I'm trying to say is, Nakona, whatever the fuck you call yourselves, you are property of Boas. You're not you're not people. You belong to Boas.
It's starting to show. It's starting to show that black South Africans, they defend and love white people in South Africa. And now everyone is aware. That is why you see people like him and I are coming out and talking about it, because it's now worthy to talk about.
So if they unalive you and feed you the pig, that's their right. They're your whites. They're your superiors.
Are you seeing what he's doing? Do you see what he's doing?
It's not Nigerians. It's not the Nigerian immigrants.
My brother is going all in. Oh my God.
Isn't this the shit you wanted? Not is right now. No one.
Sorry to cut that off, but it seems like, did you guys notice how people laugh at Zimbabwe for chasing away white farmers, white people back then? People were laughing at us like that much, even up to now. Although we have this land, we suffer just like anybody else in Africa. Yes, we have our problems, just like any African country. But the way people look at Zimbabwe, the way we did white people, a lot of people, they laugh at us. But look at South Africa right now. It seems like even themselves who are in South Africa, they barely have land. That is why the government is enforcing this law now, because the majority of the land is not in South Africa's hands.
You see this shitty ass shoe that I'm wearing? It's mine. The same way I own this shoe, that's how they own you. You own nothing on your land. You're a slave. You're a Boa slave. The name of the country is Boalandia.
Bro is not holding back. He's going all in.
That's the land.
And what is I mean, like, you're reacting to a video like me. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other guy who is doing his shit like that.
Of their ancestors. That's the native land of their people. So if they choose to unalive you, bury you, feed you to pigs, you're their slave. You're their property. That's the best. Like, that life is 110 times comparable than sharing it with African immigrants, than sharing it with black people who come in, than sharing it with Nigerians, with Zimbabweans. No. How dare Nigerians and Zimbabweans come? You know, Nigerians and Zimbabweans wanted to come in and replace you as property of Boas. No. Boa, we will not replace you. You are the Boa. Oh. You are their perfect slave. Nigerians and Zimbabweans coming in your country illegally, doing all these things, trying to replace you as property of Boas. No, you are the original property of Boas, as you've seen today. Unaliving of a woman, not a single one of you is holding alive talking about it, because the land of their ancestors, Boalandia, and you are their property, just like that shoe belongs to me. So there's nothing to complain about when I throw my shoe away or when they do that thing to you. It is their right. Shut the fuck up and know your place.
One thing about the media is that when you don't see a picture of the criminal, you must know what color their skin is. These two lunatics, Zachariah Oliver and Adrian de Wet, unalived a woman who was looking for or trying to salvage expired dairy products.
The accent is South African, isn't it? Is it? Tell me in the comment section below the accent of this guy.
And then fed her to their pigs. Now, for the Rainbow Nation, stronger together, apartheid was long ago, gang. Zachariah was 60 and Adrian de Wet was 19. So obviously, AfriForum, who's always crying about farm murders, is completely silent on this matter. But they will happily add this woman to the body count and try and make the country and the US believe that there's some white genocide happening.
You see? You see? It's now the opposite. People think that there is white genocide, like white people that are being killed in South Africa. But it's actually the opposite.
This one is a difficult discussion, guys.
It's not a difficult discussion, my brother. It's just there and people should take it as it is. But it seems like some people don't really want to accept the fact that black people are suffering under the hands, in the hands of white people, especially in South Africa. It's happening all over Africa. I think I'm going to make a video about the Chinese too.
It's not simple. Because these people have no regard for our people's life. They have no regard for black people's lives. They don't see nor view black people as people. And this is evident in the way that they really kill our people. It is emotionless and everything else. It's a challenge, truly speaking. And imagine, just for a second, if the very two same Afrikaners that killed this poor black woman, if they themselves were a victim of crime, just imagine what would have happened in South Africa. Okay, if they were killed in the way that they have killed this poor woman, and they were fed to the pigs the way that they fed this woman to the pigs.
You see?
Imagine what would have happened. This news will be all over the show. It would be in America. They would be speaking about it in America, talking about an intervention in South Africa. Okay, to say that there is a huge genocide going on and white people are being killed and fed to the pigs. But this particular event is not going to reach far. It's not going to reach a lot of people. And I blame the system that we are currently operational under, because it allows and it has given these white farmers power to murder our people without much consequences, truly speaking. For a heinous crime such as this, and given South Africa and its apartheid history, I believe the only possible and legal sanction for such a crime should have been hanging by the neck until someone is gone. That would be the only satisfactory outcome in a system like this, in order to deter these farmers from killing our people. But the system does not allow that. Obviously, AfriForum, like my guy has said, AfriForum is silent. They're not going to talk much about this, because they are going to be the very same people that are going to come and defend these people from a court of law, from a legal perspective. In a court of law, they'll make sure that they defend them so that these people do not get the harsher sentence under the current legal system, of which even the harsher sentence would not really amount to much. Like, this is nothing more than an indication of the lack of black unity. Now you understand why we need to come together, number one.
Africans, we are not those people who support each other, who stand together to fight a certain agenda or something like that. We are too separate.
You should understand why it is important that the MK needs to have more power in parliament in order to change some of the legal prescripts and policies that we have, in order to make South Africa much more accountable than anything else. You know, you should understand the importance of that.
South Africans, shame on you. Where is your outburst? Where is your outrage against the two women who were shot on a farm and fed to pigs?
You see, these are the responses from other people from different countries, but from the accent, you could tell that this person is from Nigeria. So people from countries like Nigeria were a little bit vocal about it.
Black South Africans, why are you guys like this? You guys don't have conscience. That is why all criminals all over this world will always want to come and reside in South Africa. One thing all Africans should know is, let's stop blaming South Africans for attacking other Africans, because they even attack their own self. Black South Africans just don't like anything that is black. Once you are black, they don't like you. That's just the point. Even black South Africans don't love themselves being black.
I'm a white person trapped in a black skin.
That is why you see a black South African attacking another black South African. Not just attack, they unalive them. Now let's talk story about this woman. She's not a foreigner. She's black South African. So because of the situation of the country lately, because the country, South Africa himself, is hungry right now. They are in big mess. People are hungry. It will get to a point where they will start eating each other. Because what has been happening lately in South Africa,
My brother is going all in, you know, when it comes to his analysis. It's kind of different from mine, where I'm just rubbing the surface. This one is actually going in, you know, something like that.
is they unalive themselves once they know they are hungry. But this group of women took courage and said, no, I'm not going to unalive myself and my family because of hunger. Why not I go into a farm and fetch some fruit, yogurt and all of that, so that I can take back home, I and my children can consume. The South African owns that farm. Come out with double barrel and begin to unalive these women. They shoot at them and pick two down with double barrel, and these two women were down and they were unalive with the gun. The South African that's supposed to call the family of that woman to come and pick up their corpse, they did not do that. What they do is they took their body and disposed them where there is pig, where they have pig, and the pig start consuming the body of that woman. South Africans, where are your humanity? It's funny when black South Africans see white as their own people, and white South Africans see black South African as nothing. Even in this crime committed by white South African, the black South African are still supporting the white South African. It's sad. They took their corpse, dumped them where their pig is, to feed on them. Do you see how wicked? And when people were now talking about it, do you know black South African response concerning the crime the whites did against them? They were justifying the white man for doing that. These are their comments. Black South African always find way to justify their crime, whether it's being done by white South African or by black South African. Even their media say the stuff should be covered up.
The media has been instructed not to show the images of the suspects,
which is so terrible. That is why you see people rating South African as number one country that have the best. No, it's because they cover their crime. Other African countries are bringing their own crime outside, but black South African are busy covering their crime. That is why you think their country is one of the best and all of that. No, it's because they cover their crime all the time, and we'll be here to expose this crime all the time. Thank you. Share your thoughts on the comment section, and for those that want to cry responsibly. Thank you.